Hi, can you hear me? I'm not sure because I took my earphone and I'm not sure it's working truly, but hi, I'm Sena from Istanbul Technical University and I am a senior student at Industrial Engineering Department. And Miss Yurdakul and Mr. Topçu are my supervisor during the study. The topic is already Çiğdem Hoca has mentioned is the assessment of forest fire risk and as an Mcdm application. Firstly,
Sena, you are undergraduate student. Am I understand you right? You are undergraduate student.
Yes, and it's my final year.
You are very courageous. We appreciate you. Not very many undergraduate students do this kind of research. Thank you.
Thank you. So here's my agenda. Firstly, I will explain my project objectives, then I will show the methodology and how we designed our research. And the third part, I will show the result and some part of the sensitivity analysis. And finally, I will conclude it. In objective, our goal in this project is to calculate the fire ignition risk score for forest areas. This will allow us to do more easy and accurately assess the risk score of forest fires in a given area and to take appropriate precautions and prevent fires or minimize their impact to validate their effectiveness of our risk score calculation model. We will use a case study approach and calculate the risk scores for a selection of forest enterprises in Turkey. By doing so, we can ensure that our model is reliable and accurate in predicting risk of forest fire in these areas. Through this process, we hope again better understanding of factors that contribute to the risk of the forest fire and to develop more effective strategies for preventing to mitigating the risk of forest fire in forested areas. In this table, it shows the number of forest fire and their burnt area in the period of 2000 and 2021 in Turkey. Until 2021, it fluctuated to the burnt area 3,000 hectares to the 30,000 hectares. However, in 2021, it reached a maximum at approximately 140,000 burnt area. Actually, this is why I want to do these objectives. The right vertical axis shows the number of the forest fire. Actually, we cannot say any tendency about the number and relationship with the amount of the burnt area. Therefore, we know that forest fire cause damage on ecology, economy, and human life. All of them are key elements for the continuation of our world, and we have to consider the forest fire more seriously. In this part, I will show how we designed the research. The HP method have been used for determination of forest fire ignition risk score. And how was HP applied? In the first step, criteria was determined with the analysis of literature and judgments of experts. The criteria are grouped under 6 main criteria and hierarchy was conducted. We have 18 criteria. The next step, the determination of priorities. Firstly, the pairwise comparison questionnaire survey was conducted on Google Forms and affiliated by scientists who works for the faculty in Turkish University all around from Turkey. Their answers were transferred to Excel file and analyzed with the super decision application. After determination of priorities, rating questionnaire surveys was prepared and affiliated by 2 different groups, forest fire experts who work for National Forest Service and scientists of the Faculty of Forest, Istanbul University, Cerrahpasa. In here, you can see my hierarchy. It was also conducted literature and expert judgments. The first one is the first main criteria is forest structure and vegetation. The second, topography, climate, forest location, forest facilities, and population characteristics. Actually, generally, all of them is really understandable, but maybe existence of permission from forests could be different. It's a special thing from Turkey, I guess. Some cemetery or some special houses could be facilitated in the forest. It's a special things, and also you know that the forest fire is generally caused by the human. So we take to consider it. And here you can see the forest structure and vegetation is the most important main criteria. And if you looked at the criteria judgments, if we look to the parameters of the criteria, we can see that spice composition, litter, and population density are the three essential and most important criteria. Tree spice and composition refers to the stand tree type and composition. Composition can be pure and mixed. As an example, Prunus brutta, black pine, or Corpus bultus are some of the spices which in common in Istanbul area, which I will be conducted my case study. Litter refers to dry herbaceous plants or dry brushed land, and population density, we think that it will be calculated as a person to square kilometers forest fire. And in here, understanding that consider these factors can help us to more accurately assess and manage the risk of forest fire in the Istanbul area and beyond. By taking proactive steps to address the risk factors, we can work to reduce the likelihood of forest fire occurring and protect our forests and communities. It is important to remember that even with a model like this help us understand and assess the risk, it's crucial also how to prepare fire prevention and management protocols in order to effectively prevent, mitigate, and the risk of the forest fire. In here, application and result and sensitivity analysis. In this map, blue points are the areas which are selected for application areas: Heybeliada, Arnavutköy, Bentler, Şile, and Aydos, Şile, and Ömerli. How did we choose the areas? The criteria and topics are so specific, so we need to reach person who have specific knowledge about the also areas and the criteria. As I mentioned, Ms. Secil is help us for the conduct of the people. She is a forestry professor, so we choose areas in Istanbul. After the first determination with Ms. Secil, we consulted with the forest fire expert in general direction of forest because we want to select the areas which have different characteristics. In here, you can see the application result. The first three is same both groups, expert and academics. Most risky areas is first one is Aydos, then Heybeliada and Arnavutköy. And according to experts, Şile is more risky than Ömerli, but however, its academics' opinion is opposite about that. And finally, less risky areas, Bentler. Now I will show the sensitivity analysis, which are the most three important criteria I study because it's too much. So in tree spice and composition, for first experts, critical point is 43%. Until that point, Aydos is most critical one, but after that, Heybeliada will be most risky. For the academics, Aydos is most risky one and only share the first place with Heybeliada at 100%. If we just only look at the tree spice and composition, academics thinks that Heybeliada and Aydos will be most risky areas. If we look to the litter criteria, Aydos is most risky one and only if we consider the litter. Aydos, Heybeliada have same importance levels in expert views, but in academics views, until the 52%, Aydos is the most critical one. After that point, Heybeliada will be most risky one. If we only consider the population density, in first, experts think that if we only consider the population density, Heybeliada, Arnavutköy, and Aydos will be risky areas. In the academic views, Aydos always will be most risky area in the population density view. In conclusion, the forest fire ignition risk score calculation model simplifies the analysis of risk factors and understanding of risk. It allows us to easily and accurately assess the risk of forest fire in a given area and take appropriate precautions to prevent the fires or minimize their impact. Because as I mentioned, Turkey has some biggest problem, especially in last year. I hope it will be not this year. The model can also be applied to other forestry areas and helping us to manage the risk of fires and protect our forests and communities. Overall, this model is a valuable resource for preventing and mitigating of the forest fire risk. So thank you for listening me, and if you have a question, I can answer.
Thank you, Sena. Any questions? Okay, Professor Karpak.
Yeah, I have one, Sena. Maybe I should have asked your professor. Why did you select 1 to 5 scale, Richter scale? Was there any?
Because the academicians, especially in forest areas, don't want to answer too much question. In the pair-wise comparison survey, we have too much here, and also we have 6 different areas, and we asked the 18 question for each area. It's too much. If we want to ask in the 100 scale or another scale, it's too complicated, and probably people don't want to answer it.
And I know people use quite a lot this Richter scale, 1 to 5 scale, but have you read some criticism about the Richter scale? Did you read some literature?
Especially I'm not, because I don't know the main questionnaire.
No problem. For an undergraduate student, you did really excellent. But as I say, this question should have been your professor. I think he would have been here. So he would be able to give us better insights. I was just curious, but you can search. It looks like you are a very intelligent student. Just search some criticism. Just Google it. Google it.
I will look it after the
Google Scholar. Let's see what there were some critical papers about it some years ago, not very recently. But,
okay, I will read it.
I know so many people, so many academicians are using all over the world. Actually, they are not aware. So they just use it because they are used to it.
Especially in statistics.
Yeah, statisticians. Yeah, they just use it without thinking because everybody uses it since 1930s or something. Long time.
It's a philosophy issue. Some people think that numbers are numbers.
Yeah.
The Likert scale, the Likert scale is the using in marketing most of the times, and evaluations of classes also. And then they turn around and they do the averages and everything else. But you're not supposed to because they are labels. They're not really quantities. So it's a misrepresentation of a scale, actually.
So you see, Vargas gave you some insights. So you can just do some further research. Now they extend it to 7 scale, Luis.
But you know what? If they change it, if they change the label, rather than call it Likert scale, we use the rating scale 1 through 5. See, that would have been quite different, right? So that's anyway.
Yeah, actually, we couldn't say it is a nominal scale, but yet it is not a ratio scale. So you're right.
Chidem, we are using Chidem, we are using absolute scale, Chidem. We are not using ratio scale. Okay, we will discuss later.
We will discuss later. I mean, I'm looking from the statistics point of view to compare the scales.
Ratings. So you may use some other techniques like value functions, for example. But there's this issue. So I recommend to look at it, especially when you transfer the AHP or you combine it with in a geospatial analysis. Then you have to deal with the heterogeneity of space. So value functions are a better technique, more flexible approach. So I suggest you take a look to the literature.
Okay, Sena, have you heard?
Yeah, I heard it. I will check why we don't use the Likert scale. But in the first step, we conduct a 0 to 100. But the Ms. Secil says that these academician experts don't want to use it too complicated. Probably they cannot choose because you know that it's so specific, and actually we just ask which one is most risky. In that places, she suggests to use Likert scale for the understand more easily. But I will check why we don't use the Likert scale.
but
Why,
the professor's
why you
contribution.
shouldn't use why you shouldn't use liquor
Yeah,
scale?
pardon. Sorry, it's the
Of
language
course, you have
issue.
already done this study. You want to publish. Send it to what the reviewer says. There will be somewhere who will accept it, so don't worry about
Yeah.
it.
But
There are so many people who are favor of. Yeah.
Professor Luis has a point. You should consider his contribution. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Mhm.